I want to talk to you a little bit about hay storage on these round bales. A lot of people think that you can store a round bale anywhere under any circumstances and it doesn't affect it. We know that's not true, and in fact the best way to store round bale hay is in a barn constructed for that round bale hay storage. That barn will actually pencil out. It'll pay for itself in about 3 to 5 years. In fact, it's the only building on the property that will pay for itself. Hay stored in the barn will last indefinitely, and a lot of people say, what's the definition of indefinitely? But we know that we've sampled hay that has been in the barn at least 33 years and was still excellent cattle feed. I myself have entered samples into hay shows that was 26 years in the barn and didn't win the show, but was better than about 50% of the entries in that hay show that year. So once we put the hay in the barn and we protect it from the elements, then this hay will stabilize over about the first year. There'll be some slight loss in dry matter, a very, very tiny percentage, less than 1% each year as time goes by, but the nutrients will still be there. So that's the best way to protect that investment, is to put it in a barn or store it the way that best way you can to minimize the dry matter loss and the nutrient loss of that hay. But if you're going to store outside like a lot of people do, there are some techniques to bear in mind when you're thinking about storing this hay outside so that you can minimize the loss in dry matter and also nutrients. One of the things we always do is we'll put these hay bales in a row, as you can see here, and they're going to be flat side, butted up flat side to flat side. That is so that as rain comes, this rain can run off these rounded edges here. At the same time, between the rows, we're going to have 2 to 3 feet between the rows so that that rain can come down and go ahead and fall on the ground and not get trapped here if we had these two bales stuck up close together. We also, if we'll orient these rows north and south, we'll maximize the east-west exposure of the sides of these bales so that after a rainfall event, we can get much more rapid drying that way. Generally speaking, we want to mount these on a hillside, on a site that's well drained. So if you look, it's kind of a sandy type soil here. It's really good. It's not going to hold a lot of water, and so there won't be a lot of water that's going to migrate up through the bottom of that bale. And again, if we're on the side of a hill, we'll have good drainage and move that water away so it doesn't stand around those bales. A lot of people, if you don't want to go to the investment of building a pole barn or some sort of hay storage facility, you can certainly take tarps and put over these hay bales and keep those safe from the rain. There's been some research. I've looked at some of that data. There's some data that suggests that a light colored tarp is better than a dark colored tarp. And I think that if you're going to tarp these things down, I think one of the things that you can do is go ahead and tarp them, but tint them. Get you some air movement or some area above the hay bales where you can have some airflow there, and that'll help minimize some of that condensation that tends to collect on the inside of those tarps. And then without air movement, it just sort of falls down on those hay bales, can help keep that kind of moist. But if you kind of build sort of like a tent, sort of with those tarps and get some air movement through there, then it's a pretty good and pretty inexpensive hay barn substitute. We want to take care of these bales because if you've bought the hay that meets the nutrient requirements of your animals, that has the potential to save you some money versus having to buy a lot of supplementation in town. And so we do want to protect these bales. Like I say, the best way is to put it in the barn. But the second best way would be to put it in the field in these rows as has been done here, and orient those the right way, flat side up against flat side, and leave a little bit of a row, a little space between those rows.